Hi, I'm the Moss Man, and as you can probably tell from my voice, I am very sick. For some reason, whenever I get sick, my voice drops, and then I lose it completely. So today's video is a race against time before I completely lose my voice. What we're going to be doing in today's video is taking a look at training this plant here. This is a Buddhist pine. This is a Buddhist pine right here. When I'm going to be trying to train the roots to grow in a very specific way instead of straight down, more out and more controlled, I guess. But in addition to that, I'm going to be installing this grow light for my Maidenhair Fern downstairs. Now, you may have seen the video where I repotted my Maidenhair Fern into a much bigger pot because it's outgrown this room. That video will be here. Unfortunately, where it is right now does not get a lot of light, so it is not doing well. And you'll see later in the video how it's doing. Wasn't doing great.
Yeah, woohoo, back to my normal voice. It's been about almost 2 weeks now since I sounded like that. But anyways, let's get back to what we're doing here. So, first things first, I am taking this Buddhist pine and I am removing all the dirt from the roots, and I'm separating because it's a bunch of smaller plants that are all put together into that pot to make it look fuller. So what I'm doing first is very carefully exposing as much root as I possibly can and slowly trying to take the plants apart from each other. Now, this is not something I usually do. Usually I leave like a considerable the roots in soil, like in whatever soil they were in, just because it's most convenient, and the less that you mess with the roots, the better it is, usually, is what I've found. But for this process, since we're trying to shape the roots, it's important that I can see all of them. Now that everything's been divided up and there's some kind of funky shapes, basically what I do next is I put it down. I find the tap root, which the tap root is the root that is the largest and usually goes pretty much straight down. So that's not what we want. We don't want downward growth, we want outward growth. So I have to find that tap root on all of them and kind of cut it down a little bit. The last time I tried something like this, I was pretty aggressive and I cut it down to about a third of what it was before. So that's not what I'm doing this time. This time I'm cutting it down just a little bit, and then once I've cut that off, basically I put the plant down on the paper towel, and then I spread out the roots in every direction I can, and I try and cut them all to around the same length. So it's as close to like a circle as I can get. And then I just repeat this process with all of the plants. And also I decided to dip some of them in rooting hormone just to try and expedite the process. Now, realistically, you want to do something like this once every like 6 months or a year from what I've seen. And so I'm going to check again in the spring about how these roots are doing, or if it seems like it's growing out of control during the winter, I will I doubt it will be, but if it seems like that's the case, I will pull everything apart again and check the roots. And this is a process that basically I'm going to continue for the rest of these trees' lives. The decision I've made is I'm going to keep growing them together because that makes the most sense for the setup I have at the moment. None of the roots take up a tremendous amount of space, so I need to fill that pot there that they're in. I need a bunch of them. If I just put one in that much soil, it would rot because the moisture in the soil wouldn't be used up quick enough. The soil I'm using, usually I would mix my own soil, but I didn't feel like it, so I picked up a mix that was specifically designed for seeding, or for rooting and seeds, which is good because that's what I want to do. I want the roots to grow and stuff. Eventually, I will look into making like a my own specific bonsai soil. But for now, I think this does the job, and it will work for what I need it to work for. Well, the problem, first of all, with taking them all apart and cutting off the taproots is that none of them are stable anymore. So, because that taproot kind of, if I put it in a diagram here, if the tree is tipping this way, then the taproot, the longer it is, the more it's pushing into the soil this way to keep the tree back up and all that, right? So if you cut it down, then the tree has less stability in that direction. Hopefully, well, yeah, obviously once the roots grow out, then there's a different kind of stability provided. But for this, I'm just going to prop it up. The big one, I'm just going to prop up with a wire. For most of them, I'm able to just compact the soil around them a little bit, so that provides it. And then I'm going to tie a string around the whole thing so none of them fall out, kind of. That's the idea, at least. Yeah, with the Maidenhair Fern, you can see here that it's got lots of dead stuff on it. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's getting to winter. The days are getting shorter, and the house is getting less humid, which is unfortunate for a plant like that. They'll really like their higher humidity, but it's getting less humid because we're heating the house. The other problem is this window specifically doesn't get a lot of light, but that's the only place I was allowed to put the plant. So I'm going to have to artificially supplement the light using this light I have here. It was a light that worked well for this specific situation because it has a like a stem thing, so I can just stick it in the soil and the light will be propped up above it. I don't need to like have hardware like hang the light off the ceiling or the top of a shelf or anything like that. It's very convenient actually, and if it works, I'll probably buy more of these in the future for other plants that don't get good lighting. Because it also, well, at least I think, it looks pretty, I think it looks pretty good for my sister called it a UFO, but I think it's pretty classy, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty chill. Good looking light. Alright, I think that's everything for today.
Alright, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. The music was provided by Dylan and Elijah. Leave a comment with what kind of plant content or care you would like to see next. Also, man, this Maidenhair Fern over here is growing in pretty well, huh? I'll see you in the next one.